I knew something was wrong the moment I saw her across the room. It was a Saturday night, the kind of warm spring evening that usually carried laughter and music spilling from open windows. But inside the house, the laughter felt hollow, the music too loud, like it was trying to mask something. She was in the center of it all. My fiancée, Lila, leaning into someone I didn't expect, her body too close, her laughter too intimate. I froze, my chest tightening, stomach turning in a way I hadn't felt since childhood disappointments that cut too deep to forget. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Lila had always said Ben, her best friend since high school, was like a brother to her. She had said it so many times I'd stopped questioning it, trusting her words as much as I trusted the steady rhythm of my own heartbeat. But that night, watching the way her hand lingered, the way she tilted her head just so when he spoke, it felt like a blade pressing into the soft part of me I had reserved for faith in us. I stepped closer under the pretense of greeting someone else, heart thundering in my ears, eyes locked on them. Ben's smile was easy, charming. He always had that effect on people. But it was different with Lila. There was a heat there, a casualness that shouldn't exist between siblings. I told myself I was imagining things, that maybe I was too tired, too protective, too scared of losing her. But then I saw it. Lila sat on his lap, like it was the most natural thing in the world, legs draped over him, and my stomach dropped so fast I could taste bile. I wanted to walk away, vanish into the crowd and pretend I hadn't seen it, but my legs wouldn't obey. I stood frozen, chest tight, palms slick with sweat, listening to the faint giggles they exchanged. Every fiber of my body screamed betrayal, yet a part of me, that stubborn, hopelessly loyal part, clung to denial. Maybe it was a joke, a dare, a weird twist of friendship. Maybe I was overreacting. Later, I confronted her in the quiet of our apartment, the tension between us palpable enough to taste. Lila, at the party. I began, voice shaking despite my attempts to sound steady. You sat on him. On Ben. Her eyes widened, not with guilt, but with a practiced calm that made my chest ache with disappointment. What are you talking about? She asked, voice casual, almost teasing. We were just fooling around. It's nothing. Nothing. My voice cracked, disbelief lacing every syllable. Like a brother, right? That's what you always said. She shrugged, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear as if my words were mere annoyances, not the weight of my entire world crumbling. People touch and joke. Don't make it more than it is. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But the image of them together, laughing close, too intimate, haunted me in ways I couldn't shake. Over the next few days, I found myself watching, listening, analyzing everything. Her messages, her calls, the way she held her phone with just a bit too much secrecy. Every "I'm just tired" or "I'm meeting a friend" sent spikes of suspicion through me, and I hated myself for it. I hated that I was this paranoid, broken man. But I also hated her for making me feel this way without even trying. One evening, I found a series of texts I wasn't meant to see. Nothing explicit at first, just subtle jokes, flirty tones, little moments that made my stomach knot with fear. But the undertone was unmistakable, affection that crossed boundaries. My hand shook as I scrolled, heart splitting with each word. She noticed nothing, her head bent over a book, serene and blissfully unaware, or maybe aware and just expert at hiding it. I confronted her again, calmer this time, though my voice carried a cold edge that I couldn't quite mask. Lila, why are you texting him like this? She looked up slowly, eyes meeting mine with something I couldn't quite read. I don't know what you mean, she said, but the way she avoided my gaze told me everything I needed to know. You're overreacting. We're just friends. Friends. I whispered, disbelief coating every syllable like frost. Friends don't make each other laugh like that. Don't text like that. Don't sit like that. Her silence was the loudest answer. I spent the next week in a fog of sleepless nights and restless days, replaying every memory, every conversation, every trust me she had ever uttered. My world, once steady, felt like sand slipping through my fingers. I began noticing little things I had ignored before. The The way she looked at him sometimes, that almost imperceptible pause before responding to my messages, the sudden urgency in her tone when he called. The final confirmation came at another party, one I had hoped to avoid but couldn't. I watched from across the room as she leaned in close to him again, lips brushing, whispered words carried in a private bubble invisible to everyone else. My knees went weak. The betrayal was no longer suspicion, no longer a nightmare I could deny. It was real, and it tore through me, a raw, jagged ache that left me trembling in a corner, unable to speak, unable to move, unable to reconcile the woman I loved with the woman I had been watching. I left that night without saying a word, the cool air outside a brief relief against the storm raging inside me. By the time I got home, tears streaked my face, chest heaving with sobs that tasted of anger, grief, and loss. Lila called. I didn't answer. In the days that followed, I confronted her one last time, every emotion I had bottled up spilling out. I can't do this anymore, I said, voice raw. I can't trust you. I can't live with this, knowing you'd lie, knowing you'd do this to me. She tried to reach for me, her words desperate, apologetic. But the distance between us had grown insurmountable. Please, it's not what you think. I love you, she whispered. I shook my head, the finality settling over me like a heavy fog. Love isn't this. Love isn't betrayal. Not like this. And I walked away, leaving behind the woman I thought I knew, the life I had envisioned, and the fragile threads of trust that had once bound us together. As I closed the door behind me, the weight of heartbreak pressing down, I realized something painful but necessary. Some people are only capable of breaking what they touch, and some truths are more merciful when faced head-on. The betrayal didn't just end our engagement. It shattered the version of myself that had believed in her, in us. But as the night stretched into lonely mornings, I began to feel a strange clarity. I had loved fully, trusted completely, and even though I had been wounded beyond repair, I still had my own integrity intact. And in that, there was a quiet, defiant strength. The echoes of her laughter with him would linger, haunting and bitter, but so would the knowledge that I had survived it, that I had not become someone I hated in my grief. And maybe one day I could forgive, not her, not yet, but the part of myself that had believed, that had hoped, that had once thought love could shield me from heartbreak. I let her go, finally, knowing that some doors, once closed, are meant to stay that way, and that betrayal, however painful, can sometimes be the cruelest form of liberation.